Welcome back, Bleak Riders, to another review. We're going to go somewhere pretty. We're going to do a review of a couple of companies that I'm fond of, but have had some issues with, and I want to talk about it. So, we'll get to where we're going, and we'll get into it. So, it's Memorial Weekend. Been planning to do this video for a little while. Haven't had the time. Been busy with work. Been busy with life. But I do value my place amongst the pantheon of content creators. So, we're going to do a little video about what's become my favorite motorcycle apparel company, Ridge. Another company, Odin Indestructible Manufacturing. Harley Davidson's own brand. No, I'm not necessarily what I would call a Harley guy. Can't fault them when they make something good. And I got a nice location picked out for this video to take place. So, in a perfect world, we won't lose our storyboard. Seems pretty important. I don't want to lose track of where we're at. So, oh no, sir. Hope he's okay. Wonder if I should turn around. He's getting back up. Yeah, he's got it. Alright. Ooh, look at that river. That's high. So this review is based off of some of these items I've had several years. Some of them I picked up in the last couple of months. But it's my experience that I'm hoping to share with you over what I've learned from these different manufacturers and from a sit-down that I'm pretty honored to have gotten. Many of you know I'm a big supporter of Forgotten Angels. If you're not familiar with who they are or what they do, I urge you to go online. I'll put a link in the description below. Find out who they are, what they're about, and maybe, if you can, consider helping. Well, while at the Forgotten Angels 2024 campout, I had a chance to meet with, in person, Steve Laurie. He is the owner and operator of Ridge Motorcycle Apparel. He is on the cutting edge of style, safety, and really high quality. The stuff he and I discussed, it became very clear to me that quality was job one with Steve, and if he wasn't going to be able to achieve that, he really wasn't interested in doing it at all. But since he could, he has. One of the things that we discussed, and I had never even thought about, was the manufacturing process. You go to a store, you buy a pair of gloves, either you like them or you don't, and you don't think much else about it. In the worst case scenario, something tragic happens and you have to test the gloves in a real world scenario. Let's all hope we don't have to do that. Well, Steve let me know some of the stuff that happens in the industry that we don't even think about. And that is, from year to year, from style to style, models have changes, little iterations and little changes that happen throughout the manufacturing process that can dramatically change the size or fit of a particular glove, boot, whatever the item may be. Can they still get material from the same manufacturer? Are the assembly plant doing it the same way? And the ever-present Friday crew. But these are problems you run into in the manufacturing process. And problems that can dramatically change the feel or fit of a particular item. So I've got about 5 years experience under my belt and have had the opportunity to try many, many different companies in every shape, size, and style to determine a little bit of opinion about each one of them. And we'll get into that when we get stopped. Because I brought a little show and tell, a little expose on a couple of the brands that I have. Well, we're almost here. Go to get into this review. Gonna throw around a couple key words. One of the main ones will be hotspots. Kind of a legend to this video. I wanted to give you some keys to follow. Hotspot, when I talk about a hotspot, I refer to anywhere on an item that it rubs in such a way that over time would cause pain, blistering, or injury. So if I'm talking about a hotspot on a glove or on a boot, that's what I'm referring to. Another one will be fitment. How do they fit my hand? And I'm a XL in most gloves, sometimes a large in others, but how does that in particular fit my situation? Look at this place. Oh boy, oh boy. Alright, start bike, did that. Go ride, did that. Do review, that's where we're at. We're here at the place I wanted to go. Before we get into this review, actually, let me show you. This is where we're at. It's a beautiful park on the south side of Des Moines. Place I like to come to. Place I like to spend a little time filming and thinking. Well, let's talk about gear. I have 3 things that I judge gear on: style, fit, and protection. When I first started riding, these are the first pair of gloves I bought. They're incredibly thin, they're incredibly comfortable. They have a little option so you can manipulate your smartphone, not while you're riding. But of the most comfortable gloves I've ever owned. I love these gloves. They're from a brand called Odin Manufacturing. They're the Baja MX gloves and the predecessor to the Brapstar Shade Tree Surgeon Army gloves that came out, because so many of us who are fans of Shade Tree wanted to emulate him, wanted to get his style going in our own backwoods. So these are an incredible gloves. Will they offer you much protection? Well, they're about paper thin. Better than skin, but maybe not the most protective glove. On a hot day, I'll put these on. They're my first choice every time. And look how well they've lasted. Those gloves that are 4 years old now. These are the follow-up. These are the Brapstar Edition Shade Tree Surgeon gloves. These gloves kind of piss me off. They're nowhere near as breathable. They're very cool, way more structurally intact, way sturdier. A lot of style in them, very comfortable. Again, no hot spots ever created wearing these gloves. I wore these gloves on several trips, over 1,000 miles a pop, no problems. Got the little bit of knuckle protection in case you're gonna fight people off your motorcycle. But the problem with these is on my trip to Florida, down to Forgotten Angels, went to put them on, strap ripped off. I was so pissed off by it, I ripped the other strap off too and just wear them as slide-ons now. Still really like the gloves, just not exactly impressed with the quality compared to the price. These gloves demand a premium. Don't think the strap should have ripped off. Stylish wise, protection wise, haven't had to actually try them out, but I assume they do better than the thin ones. It's really hot down in Florida, and I had forgot my gloves, which brings me to a point. Any of this gear, any of these reviews, they don't matter if you don't wear the gear. So if you're not a gear wearer, maybe this video isn't even for you. It's for the person who does wear gear and is trying to decide where their dollars are best spent. These are Harley Davidson brand gloves I got down at Burt's Barracuda in Florida. They're very similar to the Odins in the point that they're very airy. They have a lot of mesh, lets a lot of air through. These have the leather body with a little bit of padding. Incredibly comfortable. If I didn't wear them riding a motorcycle and I was into racing cars, I'd probably wear them as a driver glove. Incredible glove. I'm not a Harley guy. Doesn't stop me from wearing nice gear. Indy Ridge. Now, as I mentioned in the earlier bit of this video, I had a chance to talk with the owner, Steve, who explained to me some of the wiles that you might face dealing with manufacturers, textile companies, and just getting from glove to glove the fitment to stay the same, the quality to remain where you want it, and the materials to be the same across each one. And that can be problematic. I'd never thought about it. How come a pair of gloves I love, I order again, they don't fit the same, they don't feel right, and now they got a hot spot? Well, what probably happened was the manufacturer had to do a quick change up. They couldn't get whatever material. They couldn't make the same glove. They made something very similar. And if that's the case, you're not getting the same glove. Which leads me to my first opinion. When you find something that you really like, go ahead and order a second pair as soon as you can. Hopefully you get them from the same batch and you've got a pair of gloves for when the first pair wear out. I don't have a second pair of these Bajas. I have a pair of the skeleton handed ones, and so when these wear out, I still have a brand new pair of the Baja style gloves for the incredibly hot days that sometimes happen here in Iowa or out on the road. Indy Ridge, in my opinion, make the most high quality regular motorcycle gear available on the market. One issue I found with Indy Ridge is they're not widely available in any stores that I know of. You have to order them from the site. However, the service at Indy Ridge is second to none. If you have a problem and clearly haven't destroyed the item, they'll probably work with you. I'm not going to say as a rule, but in an exchange manner, in a let's get you to the right item that's going to be right for you so that you're happiest with the product. Steve and his wife, they stand by this product. They do everything they can to make a good product, and it shows in the quality, it shows in how they fit, and why they're of my top tier choices when it comes to gloves. Another example of the Indy Ridge, this full-bodied, very, very premium leather with the matching denim. Indy Ridge has the extra thick Velcro. The gloves are incredibly well made, and I've wore these, again, 3,000 miles on a trip across the country. No hot spots, mostly work on my phone, no complaints. Plenty warm when you need them to be. I've got a couple different models at Indy Ridge. These are the Moto, let quite a lot of air in, let your hands breathe. Not as much as something that's complete mesh, obviously, but very good. I've tried everything from Cortex, haven't tried KLIM, but I think everything in between, pretty much everything available at the store. And Odin and Indies are my go-tos. Odin demands a premium price, but often to me feels a bit more like a fashion item. I don't think they have the same level of protection. But again, more protection than skin on pavement. So, another item that's pretty popular for people to buy is boots. These are the Indy Ridge Knights. They're perforated. They let a lot of air through. I have Icons. I have Cortex boots. I have Indy Ridge boots. I predominantly wear skate shoes when I'm out on the bike. If you're not familiar with skate shoes, they're like a sneaker. A lot of padding in them. It's almost like walking on a pillow. I wore Indy Ridges throughout an entire weekend at an event. I've wore Icons through an entire weekend at an event. And I've I've wore the Cortex sparingly because they're so uncomfortable. Hot spots. Cortex created hot spots around my heel. It created hot spots around my pinky toe, and were painful to wear. Even now, years later, fairly well broken in, when I put them on, I do it only because they got the air in the toe right. Keeps your toes nice and cool on a really, really hot day. At least I'm still wearing gear. My Indy Ridges are what I swear by. I think they're stylish. The waterproof ones do what they say. They're waterproof. The airy ones do what they say. They let some air in. If you're in a really hot climate, they're great. If you're in a cold climate, you put some heated socks on, they're great. No issue. The Icons I have, they're my second choice. They're very well constructed. Same level as CE standard rating, safety. But they're wide. It's almost like being in a work boot and not something as comfortable to me. All of this is just my experience I'm sharing with you. The soles on the Indy Ridges, incredible. I mean, they nailed it. The urethane they're using, the rubber, incredible. You gotta find something more grippy. All of this is to mention that you're gonna get what you pay for when it comes to gear. If you buy the cheapest gear, you're gonna have something that protects your skin from the pavement, but may also create hot spots and ultimately lead to you not wanting to wear the gear at all. And that's not where you want to be. I know budget can be constraining to people. If you don't have the money, you don't have the money. One of my best friends wears mechanics gloves because that's what he can afford, and that's where he's most comfortable. At least he has some layer of protection between him and potentially touching the pavement. On the other hand, is it as comfortable? Is it the same? If your hands get soaked in gasoline and catch on fire, are they going to protect you at all, or are they all made of polyesters and plastics? These are the type of things I think about. So, style. Do they look cool? Do I want to wear this? The fit. Do they fit me well? Do I have to send them back and get another pair? And when I order them again, have they changed? How consistent is the manufacturing process? And protection. Well, as we see, that's kind of subjective. It's a hot day, I'm wearing a thin glove. It's cold out, I'm wearing a thick glove. Obviously, one's going to offer more protection than the other, but comfort's involved here too. When we're on the bike, we're hot, we're sitting at lights, we're sitting under the sun. From mile to mile, you're going to experience different levels of comfort. One of the things I love most about bike life is it makes you have some skin in the game. You're constantly aware of who's around you, what they're doing. You're looking at people, you're looking at other drivers, riders. You're connected to the earth in a way you don't get in a vehicle. Almost like being on horseback. It's something deeply soulful. It's one of the reasons why I'm so head over heels in love with riding two wheels. So I wanted to do a review, and Indy Ridge is my go-to. They're my number one, first choice, time after time. Now, I would say every time. Every time I go on a ride, I'll reach for my Indies first. And then depending on what I think the weather is going to be like, maybe grab the Odins or something else. Boots. I don't even wear any of the other boots anymore. These Indies are so comfortable, it's like an extension of a skate shoe. Of the companies on the market, the one probably least well known is Indy Ridge. And the one making, in my opinion, the most high quality gear is Indy Ridge. Odin's a good company. I've had some hit or miss products from them, but as far as style, they nail it out of the park every time. Canadian company, a couple of guys from Manchester, I believe, and making a hell of a product. Also, if you're a Shade Tree Army fan, you know this glove, and you probably have a pair at home. Some of the other gloves I didn't bring. I mostly wanted to talk about these two because out of everything I've tried, these have been the best. And I thought I'd share that with you. I've been riding 5 years. I've probably put about 25,000 miles down now. And hopefully 250,000 more miles under my belt to go. Whenever I can, I try to. So my review doesn't come from nowhere, it comes from somewhere. It comes from my lived experience with these items, and not just on a weekend, not just on the way to work, but thousands of miles of hand in the glove, foot in the boot, time in the saddle with these items. I'll link them all down below, so if you're interested, you can get yourself a pair. That's it. That's my review. I think the last bit of my storyboard for this video was go home. Might stop on the way home at a place I like to get tacos and a drink. But I want to thank everyone for coming along on this Bleak Rides gear review. I hope this video has been helpful in you finding the gear that's right for you. I want you to want to go ride. I want you to want to wear gear. I want everyone to be safe, and I know that's not always in the cards. So if it is in the cards for you, there's a couple of companies that your old buddy Bleak stands by. And with that, I'll say, just ride.